Hello and welcome to Undercommon Taste. This is a podcast where we normally create and discuss homebrew content for tabletop RPGs.
Be careful what you summon.
I'm Ian Woodworth. I'm joined by my co-host James Daly, and today we are doing another actual play.
Yay!
Yeah, today I actually get to play instead of
That's
running
amazing.
it.
I know,
right?
The forever DM has switched his hat.
That never happens. So, as we mentioned last episode, today we are going to be playing Wraithound by Cezar Capacle. Cezar is a Brazilian game designer, and I first experienced this game with Rainey over at Rainey Plays Games. He did a playthrough of Wraithound with a friend of his last year for Halloween, and so it is very much a spooky season sort of game, and so we have decided to play it as a spooky season sort of game.
Yeah, we were able to grab this on itch.io. There were two options. One was just the PDF file. The other option was a few dollars more. I think it was like an extra $2 or $3, and has access to a virtual tabletop. And I went ahead and sprung for that. And the virtual tabletop is a nice little interface. It does look fairly clean. It works well. I do like that. Within the book itself, or the PDF itself, there is some art that is almost reminiscent of the Stories to Tell in the Dark books from the 90s that I kind of remember. So it's not quite as stringy with the art, but it does have that feel to it. So the art is definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's very evocative. It's all black and red, and it just fits the vibe very well. I'm not describing it well. I don't do art direction, in case you haven't figured that out yet. But I like the art. It's very evocative of the themes that we're getting into in this game. Speaking of the themes in this game, James, do you want to describe what the themes of this game are?
Yeah, so again, there is some there's some curse, there's obviously horror. So at the beginning of the book, there is some content warning, and again, depending on what you want to read and what you want to do, there is some body horror that could be possible. Obviously, some graphic detail that can pop up. And so generally, as we say, a zero session is always a great idea. So you get your people at the table, or for yourself, hey, I want to deal with this, I don't want to deal with this. These are my limits. These are my hard veils where I don't want to see them, or soft veils if they happen not directly in front of me but are hinted at. That can be okay. Again, you don't want to squick your players out. You don't want to traumatize your players by any stretch. So again, that zero session is generally a solid idea.
Yeah. Now, James and I have been playing together for a very long time. We've been doing the podcast together for 5 years now. I feel like we have enough trust between us that I am okay with us just sort of glossing over, just keeping the general, don't be a douche.
Fair.
And if we hit a point where either one of us are bothered by how the story is going, we will have a stop. We will have a rewind. I will edit that part out.
Yeah.
To streamline the listening experience.
Absolutely.
But I think we have played together long enough that we communicate well enough that we can trust one another on that, I think.
Yeah. And again, our general hard lines, violence against children is generally out. Sexual assault's generally out. For me, like things with bones, like cutting bones, because where I had the amputation, I unfortunately had a very very graphic in first person, and like I can't watch that on TV anymore. I see that and I can just feel it through my body. It's very strange. So again, things like that, that's probably going to be like a soft veil for me. But again, it's the standard stuff for us. But again, we've known each other for a while.
Yeah.
So another really good thing I enjoy with the way this book was put together was the author did create a section where he shows his inspiration of games and media. And so I've not heard a lot of these games, but there's 50-50, Dead Belt, Bluebeard's Bride, Space Train Space Heist, World of Dungeons Breakers, Lasers and Feelings, which sounds amazing.
Yeah, Lasers and Feelings is a very popular system to hack right now in the indie space.
Gotcha.
The game Kobolds and Trenchcoats is a Lasers and Feelings hack.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And then he also has media and touchstones. And so Ghostbusters, The Witcher, Blade, Constantine, and Beetlejuice. So again, you are going to have a bit of that delve into the occult and that general weirdness. Kind of that Tim Burton-esque goth feel, really.
Okay, so just to get the vibe going, I'm going to go ahead and just read the one page that is the game, that describes what the game is.
Perfect.
Wraithound is a tabletop role-playing game designed for 1 to 3 players where you embody a unique ghost hunter endowed with supernatural abilities as part of an ancient order. Your adventure takes you through haunted properties like ancient manors, glorious castles, and opulent mansions, each steeped in mystery and spectral phenomena. As you step into these eerie settings, you must investigate the underlying causes of the supernatural occurrences that plague these locales. Through careful exploration, you gather clues and insights into the hauntings, confronting any horrors or threats such as ghostly apparitions or other unsettling entities. The heart of your task is to resolve these disturbances, struggling to banish, capture, or eliminate the spectral presence. After each haunting is put to rest, your journey leads you to the next troubled site, continuing your life's dedication as a Wraithound to shielding the living from the echoes of the spectral world. So yes, I'm basically going to be playing a medieval fantasy ghost hunter.
You're basically Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. So again, we have your first character generation, and so this game runs by the locations are set up by a division of playing cards. You divide your cards into piles. You have the red colors and the black colors. The red colors are going to be your locations. Your curios, there's going to be 2 of those per section, and then 1 black card. It's either going to be a club or a spade, which is either a terror or a horror. And that's generally going to be the threat in the room. You have 3 quote, quote, rooms per level. You have 3 levels and then the final boss of the encounter. Starting through, though, all of the die rolls are a 2d6 system. It's a 6-6 system. And we're going to go ahead and start with creating your name, which is going to be 3 separate 2d6s. So let's go ahead and find our character name.
All right. So first roll is 3-6. So I can take first name Silas, last name Glumai, or epithet the Golden. And I'm 100% taking Silas.
Okay, fair. That's a strong name. I like it.
Yeah, Silas has been a recurring character name for recurring villains and such, and recurring characters in short stories that I've written for years.
Oh, okay.
And always the ones that are kind of spoopy. So yeah, we are definitely going with Silas.
This might be the corruption of Silas. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Next up is 1-4. So we have the last name Elder Moss or the epithet The Song. I don't know, man.
I know which direction I'm leaning, but this is absolutely your character, so I'm going to leave this place to you.
I'm going to gamble on the epithet. I'm going to take Elder Moss.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking we have a mutual friend song, and so and Silas Eldermoss. That's like a good elven name. You know, that's a great. I like that one.
Yeah,
it has a good feel to it. Silas Eldermoss.
Yeah, it definitely has that connection to deep nature feel to it. All right, and then we have next is 4-3, The Shield.
Okay,
I can get behind that.
All right, we got your paladin feel going for you. We're going to build a blackguard.
Oath of Ancients. Oath of Ancients.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, this fits my vibe a lot because I routinely play tanky characters. I like that. My World of Warcraft main for 14 years now has been a protection paladin. And that's just how I like to play my game. So yeah, I like getting in the way and making sure that the bad thing focuses on me so all of my friends can kick its ass.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have any friends with me today, so I'll have to do all the ass kicking myself.
Well, again, this might be the corruption of Silas. We don't know.
That is possible, yeah.
So the second thing we need to roll on is number 2, your drive. As a Wraithound, you had no choice in joining the Order. But that doesn't mean you lack a personal agenda. Roll on this table to discover what drives you to keep fighting, revealing the true motive behind your actions.
All right. So we got 5-3 to settle a personal score with a malevolent spirit.
This tracks.
That works for me.
Yeah, this absolutely tracks for Ian. All right. Do you want to try to build that up any more from your character, or just want to leave it as that?
Let's get a couple more things and see
Okay.
how we can weave everything together.
Okay, so we'll build our personal story through the game, maybe through like a series of flashbacks or inspirations, or okay, I like that.
And because next role is going to be the talent, and the talent is going to inform, my connection to this malevolent spirit, and
Yes.
why I'm holding this grudge.
Yeah, so 3 is your talent. Well, every Wraithound expresses their supernatural powers in a particular way. With a blend of innate and acquired skills, you are a versatile hunter. However, one talent sets you apart. Roll on this table to discover how your unique talent manifests, which may hint at the origin of your powers and the nature of your training in the order.
All right, we've got double 6s.
Ooh.
Leveraging ancient lore to dominate mystical confrontations.
Nice. Now, see, that would be something one of my characters would have rolled. But yeah, again, too, kind of bookish, kind of maybe you found like on a book of the occult. Maybe you had like a family history or a family secret you've kept. And again, we can definitely work with this and build on this as we continue.
Yeah,
so you have some sort of ancient lore that, okay.
Yeah, I think this acquisition of lore is going to be tied to the initial actions of this malevolent spirit, which is why I'm holding the grudge.
Okay.
Perhaps they possessed somebody in my past and I was unable to exorcise them. And so I lost this person that I cared about. And so I went down the rabbit hole hunting for different ways to manipulate and control spirits and spiritual energy. And I have since discovered all of the probably not very nice rituals and such to cast out and bind and otherwise dispel malevolent spirits.
So what Ian is saying is spite is a superpower.
Spite has always been a superpower.
Absolutely. I love it.
I mean, have you read Spawn?
Yes, I love. Oh God, I love those comics. Those are such amazing comics. Now your style or your drip. As a Wraithound, your present is distinctive as your abilities. Your style sets you apart in the shadows. Roll on the following table to determine your attire, hair, and eyes. Adjust these descriptions as needed to fully capture your character's essence. So for your attire, make a roll.
My attire. All right, 5'2". Hooded overcoat with dragon scale motif.
Nice, and again, that kind of fits that paladin look. I kind of like it. Roll for your hair.
For my hair, 4'3". Salt and pepper.
Okay.
Yeah, that fits my mental image of what Silas has looked like in the past. So
okay, so maybe that like close-cropped kind of military look.
Yeah, sort of. A little taller on the top. Okay. It's more of a short on the sides, that close clip on the sides, and then just short on the top.
Okay, so like a Marine high and tight?
Not longer than that.
Okay.
This is definitely not a modern military compliant haircut.
Okay.
It is longer than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, all right. And next, the roll for your eyes.
2-1. Glowing amber eyes.
Ooh,
okay.
Nice. Okay. Again, you've been touched by the supernatural, and it shows through.
Yeah, this is a direct result of my meddling in this ancient lore.
Yes.
Possibly even I am a vessel for another spiritual entity.
Ooh,
like I have a rider, tagging along with me that is able to help me manipulate these energies and maybe helping me be able to see spiritual energies more easily, things like that.
Okay. And then now your trinket. As part of your training as a Wraithound, the Order has bestowed upon you a peculiar object. Its function remains a mystery, but they hinted that it could aid you in your mission. It is up to you to uncover its purpose and understand how it connects to the supernatural world.
Okay. 4-5. A small hexagonal container crafted from natural wood grain with a seamless aerodynamic profile.
Interesting. Very interesting. It's a snuff box. Okay. And again, we don't know quite what this is or what it does, but it does something. So,
It does something.
does something. We don't know yet. And finally, we need to roll to see what our mission is. Now it is time to determine what your mission is by rolling or picking the location where it unfolds and defining the signs of the haunting. So, for location.
All right. For location. 4-5. The Cobblestone Chateau, an ancient dwelling paved with storied stones.
Ooh, okay. And 7, the haunting. When you receive your mission briefing, the exact nature of the supernatural disturbance remains unclear. However, initial signs of activity here have already manifested. Consider these your first clues to unraveling the mystery of the manor.
Okay. 6-5.
Ooh, good roll.
The ground trembles as if something beneath is trying to break free.
Ooh, nice. Okay. And now we are ready to start. At this point, if you did not have the virtual tabletop, you would go and you would lay out the cards face down as described in the PDF. Again, today we are using the virtual tabletop, so that is done digitally for us. And so I'm going to go ahead and click the reveal for the first room. So our first room is the 5 of Diamonds, the basement study. Curiosity and isolation under the thickness of dust and candlelight. So you're coming through, and your character has been. Let's determine a couple things. Are you new to the order, or have you been in the order for a while? Are you a veteran at this point?
I think that Silas has been around the block a time or two. I think this is not his first rodeo, because I feel like if he were newer, they would not let him go in by himself.
Okay. That is reasonable.
He has a good bit of experience, and that's why he's allowed to do these things solo.
Okay. So he has proven himself in the past. And so Silas comes to this chateau. He has come to the location. He's come on his horse. He's hobbled his horse and tied it up. And the chateau kind of has that old paved stone look that you see in The Witcher. It's kind of those, not quite that edge of Victorian early industrial revolution. Again, everything is still, like I said, cobblestone. The house is a large Victorian looking house, multiple floors. And as you get there, you can feel the tremor as you walk. And just every so often there is this large thump in the ground. You can actually see the wave ripple, not quite like an earthquake, but the videos of the breathing forests where the whole forest floor kind of rises up for a moment and then settles back down. You're going through, the lights are out, the windows and shutters are all boarded up. You check initially just the front door, and it's obviously barred and locked. You can't enter in. And so you start with wisdom, because again, you're not sure. You start kind of doing just a skirt around the house to explore, just to get a feel, to make sure there's no weird exits or there's nobody hiding on the outside. And as you get to the far side of the house, you find that there is cellar doors, those double doors that you can open, and those happen to be unlatched. And so you finish your initial circuit around, you come back, you open these double cellar doors, and you step down into this dark and dank basement. And as you get down, you notice it's a study, and so there are shelves filled with oddities and curiosities and old books. There is a lantern that is mysteriously, strangely glowing, and so there is a dim candlelight-esque lighting to the room. There's cobwebs. You get that musky scent of mold that has been settled for a while.
And so the first thing he's going to do is he's scanning everything. He's watching exactly where he puts his feet before he takes a step forward anywhere. And he's going over to this candelabra first. And he's going to run his fingers over the flames that are coming off of this candelabra to see if there's any heat coming off of it.
Okay, so you go to the candelabra, and as you run your hands over it, it is cold as everything else in the room. There is no heat, and so this light is coming from some non-physical source, or at least some non-physical source that you've not yet encountered. It seems to be very unusual.
Right. And so I'm relying heavily on these glowing amber eyes, this spectral sight that my tag-along spirit that we are talking about here, that the spirit that's riding along with me is helping me visualize what's going on down here in this cold and dark room to try and discern what sort of things I'm going to be finding down here. Do I gather any information from the nature of the specimens? Because you said that this is a study and that there were different specimens, like different things, like I'm assuming in jars, like on shelves.
There are some things in jars, and there's a bunch of there is one or two things in jars. And they just, nothing that you can determine or understand. And a lot of it just seems to be oddities and curios.
So there's not anything that I'm seeing that I can say these are the accoutrement of certain magical experiments or something like that.
You could probably hint towards, but nothing that is jumping out as a certainty. Okay. So now we have our curiosity. So as you are exploring this further, you're coming through and you go and you're checking these strange jars and vessels, and you're trying to determine what they are, if they're just like maybe some biological sample or if they've been used in some sort of occultic magic. And you set it back, and when you turn around, the room has been suddenly rearranged, and the furniture is all in different places. The shelves have moved. The only shelf that remains was the one you were directly looking at when you had the item off of the table.
Okay. And now that I have turned around and observed the room and I've seen that all the furniture has moved itself, when I turn back around to that shelf, is that shelf still there, or has it moved now that I've looked away from it?
That shelf is still there.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So given that this shelf is not moving, the first thing that Silas is going to do is he's going to look around the edges, look around the perimeter of this shelf, look at the floor in front of this shelf, and see if there's any evidence that perhaps this shelf is hiding like a hidden door, like a secret door, because he's trying to logic or reason why this shelf is the only thing that didn't move when he looked away from it.
Okay. With that, we're going to do our first die roll, and we're going to say that a success will be you can determine some reasoning, and a failure will mean that you cannot.
Okay. So the way that this works is you have your 2d6, you have one that is the challenge die and one that is your die, and you have to roll, is it meets it beats it, or do you have to roll higher than the challenge die?
You have to roll higher, with a tie being determined by the DM, but generally some sort of other conflicting, like there's special things that happen on ties. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm using a blue die and an orange die, and the blue die is going to be my challenge die.
We can see Ian as a Florida fan.
No, I'm not. I went to University of Virginia. UVA has blue and orange.
Oh, do they have blue and orange too? Okay.
Yes.
I thought they were purple.
No.
Okay.
That's Clemson. Clemson's purple and orange. Anyway, I have a tie, 4 and 4.
4 and 4. So with this tie, this is a good time to, you are searching, and from that mystical rider that you say behind the eyes, you get a message from what's called the Oracle.
Okay. Tread the glorious belief with the greed rises. Or the greed that rises. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Tread the glorious belief with the greed that rises.
What would you like to do next?
I'm still focused on this shelf.
Okay.
At least for the moment. If this next action doesn't result in anything, I'm going to leave it alone. But for right now, I think the way that this is interpreting in my head is that this shelf rises up.
Okay.
Like it's on tracks, and I can slide it up kind of like a garage door, kind of like sliding it up, and that there's something underneath it.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going to start by just lifting up anything obvious on the shelf that looks like it might be a lever, like a release catch,
Okay.
And if nothing happens with that, I'm going to literally hook my fingers under the front edge and try and lift it and see if anything happens.
So you start moving objects and things on the shelf, and everything everything seems to be fairly mundane, other than it's just innate oddity that they are strange, weird objects in their own right. Kind
Okay.
of like those sculptures from Beetlejuice, those just weird shaped things, As you go to try to lift this whole shelf, are you trying to lift it from the bottom? Or are you grabbing one of the shelves and lifting up? How are you going to do this?
I am lifting it by the actual box of the cabinet. Like I'm
Okay.
going to hook my fingers under the actual cabinet if there is a space.
Okay.
And if not, then the best handhold I can find as close to the bottom as I can, and I'm just going to give it just a test lift. And if it doesn't move, I'm not gonna force it, but
Okay.
I'm going to give it a decent try.
Fair. Go ahead and roll your dice again.
Okay, that's another tie, 3 and 3.
3 and 3. Yeah, with this does work for you. So with the 3 and 3, you start to lift this shelf up, and as we described as you walked in, again, the ground underneath this entire manor is rising and dropping at times too. It's almost like not quite a breathing, but again, you have this sound of something subterranean. You hear this dull thunk, thunk, and cracking. And as you go and you start to lift, the ground rises with you, and the curio cabinet starts to shift with you. And within this basement, you feel and hear other shelves starting to tip and fall as well. And with that, there was a large stone pillar that was just in the room, just standing alone, again, among the many weird and eclectic items. And this pillar falls over, and you hear a clink and then a gushing as water starts bursting forth from this pipe, flooding the room. Quickly, the water's starting to rise at your feet. Again, the water's cold. It's kind of dank. It's a little brownish. It's not quite river water, but the room is starting to flood and fill with water. What are you doing?
So was I able to lift the cabinet and find another passage?
There was no other passage. You were able to lift the cabinet, and again, as the ground swelled, it shifted, and you can tell the wall behind it is solid.
Okay. In that case, are there any other doors leading out of this room further into the house? Are there any stairs that lead up from this basement inside the house that I can see from where I'm standing?
Yeah, so again, you came in from this outside cellar doors. You came down, and you were probably maybe a quarter way in the room. And on the opposite end of this basement, there does appear to be stairs that leads up to a door.
All right, well, then I am going to go up the stairs to that door.
Okay. So are you running? Are you moving? Are you fleeing?
I am moving slowly but deliberately.
Okay. So you are moving slowly and deliberately, and again, not trying to run. You don't feel as much resistance from the water, though, as the water is building up, and it's surprisingly quickly this room is flooding out. Things are starting to float. Some things are crumbling and dissolving into the water. It's taking you a bit of time, and you can get to the stairs. The stairs themselves are becoming slick, but not impassable, in which case you get to the door. You try the door and surprisingly find the door is unlocked. And so you are able to leave this room.
Okay.
And so with this here, we have to, as you finish each room, you have to reflect and say, did you complete this room successfully or optimally, or were there more hindrances to it? As a DM, you had 2 ties and a success. I am inclined to say that this could be a, quote, successful exit to this room, in which case we would put one of these cards in your power stack versus your peril stack. And this will come to play later in the game. Would you agree, or would you want to say something different?
I would say that he successfully made it through the room. I wouldn't say that he didn't find anything useful. He didn't find any clues or anything that would really play into, identifying what the threat is.
Okay. So for you, would you put this card in your power or your peril stack?
I mean, as much as I would want it to be in my power stack, I think it goes into the peril stack because I don't think that if there was something there that would help him, he didn't find it.
Okay, fair. Then yeah, then we will put this room into the peril stack. So now we reveal, so you continue to explore the manor, and your next room is you come up, you leave the basement. The basement opens up into a short hallway, and you find yourself in a dining room. And this dining room is opulent. It kind of reminds me of the dining room, the ballroom in Medivh's castle.
Okay.
Yeah, and so again, it looks like it's been set for a large party and guests, and so the tables are there, the crystal glass is out, the silver is out, the fine china is out. Again, lighting, there are silk drapes, there are silk tablecloths. The chairs are all pushed back from the table, some are knocked down. Again, the house is largely still darkened. There's an eerie music, some sort of string orchestra that you can't see. The music is somehow being piped and fed into the room.
Okay. Are there any place settings left on the table, or is the table empty?
No, there are plenty of place settings on the table. It looks like maybe things left mid-meal, perhaps, or that things were going. So I mean, some plates do have still. The food's not even rotted, though. It has that kind of that stiffness of age, I'll say. Like if not like a skin. Like if you leave meat out, it's not rotten, but it's been cooked, so it's tough. It's dried out. The food is dried out.
Okay.
Starting to desiccate.
So we're looking at like it's been sitting here for a couple hours.
Or longer. If it's been very dry, it's been sitting out for a time. You can't really determine how long, but again, there were guests at some point, but now they are gone.
Okay. Is there anything in particular, other than the toppled chairs and the half-finished plates of food, is there anything else that is especially notably out of place here? Like, he's going to look under the table. He's going to see if there's anything under the table, like on the floor, on the underside of the table, of the physical tabletop itself, things of that nature.
Okay. So you're going through and you look, and there is nothing particular under the tables, though you do notice that there are portraits, and the portraits of the people, you don't know if they are family members or just known people or just famous pictures, but the eyes of the portraits tend to track and follow you.
Okay. So Silas is going to come up to the one that is closest to him and give it a good once over with his spectral eyes and see if this is an artist's trick, because he does know that there are some artists that can paint in such a way that it looks like the eyes follow you.
Okay.
Or if this is actually some sort of supernatural effect.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for that.
Okay. Ooh, that is a failure. That is a 5 and a 1.
Again, you sit there and you're looking, and the painting itself just really, it's eerie enough in your experience with the previous room, and your socks and shoes are wet, your pant legs are wet. It's distracting enough, and the music is offsetting enough, just like discord enough that you can't really focus. And you feel these eyes gazing upon you. There is a feel of malevolence there in the room that is growing, but you cannot quite determine anything from this particular photo or portrait.
Okay. Are there any plates or dishes or cups or anything that have been spilled onto the floor, or are they all still up on the table?
There are some that have been knocked over, and as you are gazing and trying to examine this portrait, you do hear the clinking of china and silverware. Not being used, but you do hear them moving and being hit together.
All right. Does it feel like the shifting of the earth is causing them to slide on the table? Is that the vibe that I'm getting?
It could be, but you are not certain because you are facing away. It does seem like if it was the shifting of the earth beneath the manor, it seems like they would all be coming, but it seems like it's kind of moving, cascading down towards you.
Okay. Well, Silas is getting a little frustrated about not being able to really make heads or tails of much anything. So he is going to try and provoke something. He's going to try and provoke a response.
Okay.
And he's going to do so by taking one of these china plates off the table and holding it up at about eye level and letting go and letting it fall and shatter on the floor.
So as you drop this china, you pick up this plate and you hold it at eye level, and at that eye level, you can tell this is opulent porcelainware. This is extremely expensive and high end. This is not. It has that like inlaid gold filigree into the porcelain that has been like pushed and hammered down. I mean, this is extremely expensive.
All the better to provoke a response.
Exactly. And as it shatters from the corner of your eye, you see this silvery, energetic, it's almost like the shimmer of ice in the mirage of air. And it wraps itself around your legs and starts coiling up towards your wrist, starting to pin you down and constrict you. You look up and you see the head of the spectral serpent just hissing in your face.
Okay, well, I guess this is going to be me attempting to leverage my ancient lore to dominate mystical confrontations.
Okay, this will definitely be a roll.
Absolutely. All right. Oh, and that is a success. That is a 6 over a 4.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So what kind of lore are you going to use on this serpent?
So because Silas has this benevolent spirit that's riding shotgun in his head, his abilities are such that he can physically interact with spiritual manifestations.
Okay.
And so most spirits are not really ready for that. I mean, a lot of them, especially sort of the poltergeist style ones, can interact with objects. And he logically saying this spirit is probably not interacting with my physicality. It's probably interacting with the clothing that I'm wearing. It is causing the objects that I'm wearing to constrict against me.
Okay.
And so what he does is he just reaches out with one hand and he grabs this spectral snake like just below the head and he just starts to squeeze.
Okay. So yeah, so you sit there and you get the snake in this quintessential chokehold and you're sitting there and you are struggling and yeah, the snake is a spectral ambush predator, for lack of a better term, and the fact that its prey has quickly turned the tables on it. It starts to thrash and unravel itself around you, and it unravels itself from around your leg. And next thing you know, its tail comes up and tries to wrap itself around your arm to kind of push back, but you're able to hold on to this spectral snake's head. Are you going to let it flee, or are you going to try to dispatch it?
Do I get the sense that I can get any information from this spirit? Does it seem intelligent enough for me to interrogate?
Probably not. This seems very animalistic, and it definitely seems to be a response to you breaking the expensive items.
Then I'm absolutely dispatching it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that one again.
Okay. That is another success, 5 over 1.
Yeah, so again, you hold this thing down, and where are you keeping your trinket at?
I am keeping it... See here, it's almost like... You know how cops have that handcuff holster on the front of their utility belt?
Okay.
He's got sort of a little hard shell pouch that there on the front of his belt that he keeps it tucked into.
Okay, so as you are choking on this spectral snake and it's trying to pull away, it's trying to flee, like I said, it's wrapping itself against your arm and actually like physically pushing against your body, but you maintain this grip against it. And eventually the snake just dissipates within your hand and this misty essence starts to drop to the ground. And before it hits to the ground, you notice that it is actually pulled towards your case and into your trinket.
Interesting. That is information.
That would be
information. Definitely information. Okay.
So with that, we are ready to go to level 2. Ooh, you got a Joker, which means that is the Joker should be a secret room, I believe.
Ian here from the editing room. That is not how the Joker works, but we'll get more into that at a later point in the episode. It says boss.
It can be for the boss, but it's not necessarily the boss. Let me pull up here to the thing where it says the secret rooms for the jokers. Yes or no questions. Oh, that's another thing too. You could be asking yes or no questions. Oral can be used to determine outcomes of yes or no questions. That's something we could ask later, or you could have asked the snake. Open questions.
Did I get another power or peril
That
off
will
of that
absolutely
second room?
Yeah, that'll absolutely be a power for that room. I'll put it there here in a second.
Yeah.
So yeah, challenges, threats. You did that. You did the horror. Bosses, Joker. And that should be, but it shouldn't have popped. If it pops in on the second level, it's not there yet.
So I do need to check for secret rooms.
Yes, you do.
So before we leave this dining room,
you'll check for a secret room?
Absolutely.
Okay, hold on real quick. Let me go to the table of contents where it says secret rooms. Reveal a room, reveal the curiosity, reveal threat or horror, Joker. If you reveal a Joker instead of a black card, you have discovered a boss clue. Okay, so this is your first Joker you found. It gives you a hint on the motivation of the creature responsible for the supernatural phenomenon. Why are they haunting this place? What do they want? What connects them to this location? So yeah, with that, you have found a clue when we get to that, when you get to the next level.
All right. So let's not worry about that right now. Let's finish up level 1.
Yeah, let me see here. Secret rooms. Check for secret room. If any two of the cards revealed, so you only if two are of the same rank. If any two of the cards you reveal are of the same rank, so like a 2/2, a 2/3, you can check for a secret room. And we had
all right.
We did. We had a 3 and 3. No, that's a 5 and a 3. So no secret room on this one. But you do get a Joker for that. So let me come back up to here.
Okay.
And we will reveal this. Okay. I wish I could look at that card. I saw it earlier. So this was like the Goblin of Crowns or something like that. Okay, good deal. Okay, yeah. So you leave the dining room and you notice like these large ornate curving stairs, and as you move up to the second level, as you absorb the essence of that spectral serpent, you get this kind of mental flash of events that have gone on, and you know that the family of the estate had made a deal with a trickster spirit, and they had granted basically ownership of the land in exchange for financial gain and money. And so this family has done very, very well over time, but the end of this contract is starting to come up. And so that's when this ground started heaving as the spectral goblin king looking thing with this nasty, like, dented gold crown surrounded by a huge coterie of spectral jesters, and they are getting ready to burst forth because, again, this is now their land, and they are going to use this as their foothold and hub into the material world.
Oh, fun.
Oh, yeah.
So real quick before we keep going on any further, I'm pretty sure that the card for that last room should be going into my power.
Yes. Perfect. Excellent.
Because I certainly did overcome that obstacle.
You absolutely did. Very well. And so as you further explore the second level of this mansion, you're going through and exploring. You come and you notice that the door to the master bedroom is open.
Okay. So I'm going to ease up to it. And I mean, is it open, or is it just ajar?
It's like half open.
All right. So I'm going to ease up on the hinge side, and I'm going to use the toe of my boot to push it the rest of the way open.
Okay. I need that. And so, yeah, again, you open it up, and it is the master bedroom. It is, again, as opulent as the rest of the house. It's very much like Hearst Castle or the Winchester estate. And again, you've got this large oak and wood canopy bed. You've got quilts of fine linen and silk. You have mirrors. You have more family portraits. You've got pearls and beads and gems hanging from the wall. You have, ornate gold set candelabras, silver ewers where water or wine would be held. Again, this room is extremely opulent. And in each of the four corners of the room, there is a bust of a statue of a person that you assume are maybe family members or ancestors of some sort.
Okay. Are they looking at the bed?
Yes, they are all all four looking towards the bed / the center of the room. They are all kind of in the corners and faced towards a central point.
Well, that's creepy as fuck.
A little bit.
So you mentioned that there was a mirror in this room.
Yes.
So the first thing that Silas is going to do is he is going to walk up to where he can see the reflection in the mirror, and he's going to observe the room through its reflection.
Okay. So you turn and you are observing the room through the reflection. And the mirror is opposite the foot of the bed, if that makes sense. So you can see the bed and the back half of the room through the mirror. And what you notice is the statues that you see in the mirror are now moving forward, slowly but steadily.
As in moving towards the center of the bed or moving towards me?
Moving towards you.
All right. I am going to look away from the mirror and see, are the physical statues, are the physical busts that are sitting in the corner of the room actually physically moving, or is it just, are they just moving in the reflection?
So as you turn, you notice those statues have physically moved.
Okay.
You also hear the sound of a weight being pushed across the floor as you stare at those two statues.
All right. I think the first thing that Silas is going to do is he's going to close the distance to the closest statue. Okay. And he's going to attempt to topple it over onto the floor.
Okay. So at this point where you... okay. You have two statues that are equidistant to you on your right-hand side and your left-hand side.
I'm going to say probably the one closest to the door that I came in through.
Okay, so yeah, that'd be the one on your right-hand side. So you turn to face the statue on your right-hand side, and as you turn, that statue is not moving, but it has moved from its original location. And as soon as you place your hand upon the statue to tilt it over, give me a roll.
I was waiting for it. That's a tie, 4 and 4.
4 and 4. What was 4 and 4 last time? I'll go with this one because I kind of want to know what I want to do with it. 4 and 4. Ooh, there is a cost or a tough choice or a complication. So yes, this is perfect. So you sit there and you grab this statue, and one, it is significantly heavy, and you see this face that kind of starts to shimmer off, and it blinks to your mind, and you get the idea of some of the rituals and some of the opulence that had been happening at this manor while this particular progenitor was the head of the estate. With this and the people that you see him working and conniving with, you recognize some old family members that are involved in this as well. Maybe like a great uncle or a grandparent. So a couple generations back that were also here and bargaining with this spirit that's under the manor for success. So it wasn't just this family alone that made a bargain with this spirit that is trying to lurch up from the bottom of this manor, but multiple families. And apparently some of your ancestors were involved as well.
Okay. I mean, that tracks.
Yeah. And so as you're going and you're moving, you get this, a couple moments have passed in that flash. You are still struggling with the weight of this statue because you kind of froze in place, and the other three statues are still creeping in upon you. What are you doing?
Because it has moved.
Okay.
There is now space behind it.
Okay.
And so I am going to move around behind it to where I can get visual on all four statues at once.
Okay, fair.
Mainly because I want a minute to be able to try and figure out what my next step is going to be.
Okay.
And so once I'm circled around behind this one, do the other three stop moving once I can see them?
Yes, as long as you have them in vision, they do not move. Yeah, very much like the Weeping Angels. Just a lot slower.
Yeah, right. And so this vision, I guess this sort of flashback almost, did that end when I took my hand away from the statue, or did it end while my hand was still on the statue?
It ended while your hand was still upon the statue.
Okay.
And at this point, as you are still holding the statue, you see this hand.
Oh, no, I let go as soon as I circled around behind it.
Okay.
So Silas is going to take that charm, the trinket, out,
Okay.
and he's going to palm it, and he's going to apply it to the back of the head on this bust and see if anything happens.
Okay, go ahead and give me a roll for that.
Oh, that is a failure, a 2/1.
Okay. Nothing happens except you hear this dreadful moan and screaming as, again, the space starts to push. Instead of into the trick, it actually pushes up and out of the shadow. And the spectral head starts floating and taunting with these kind of broken, not full sentences. And it's accusatory. It's, this is you. It's us, you or we kind of thing. Again, it's very eerie, but the spectral face has come up and out of the statue and is just kind of jabbering at you this whole time now.
Okay. Well, now that the spirit has left the statue, I'm going to attempt a repeat performance of the serpent, and I'm going to try and grab it.
Okay, give me a roll.
Oh, that does not go well. That is a failure, 5/3.
Okay, so again, this thing just mocks you openly with the derision that only ancestral wealth could have upon a poor, poor pleb, and it's blaming you for all of its failures and all of its corruption, and it's talking about how you will never amount to anything, and everything you do will be cursed and ruined forever. Again, you cannot get away from this thing. It is going to linger with you and haunt you for some time, actually, at this point.
Okay. Well, that did not go as I had intended. And so, I guess the best thing that I can think to do right now is to try and keep all of the statues, the 3 still mobile statues and this one free-floating spirit, trying to keep them as much in my visual range as I can. And I'm going to sidle over to the bed, and I'm going to pull the quilt off the bed.
Okay. You yank the quilt off the bed. It is a standard quilt.
Is there anything under it in the bed?
No.
Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to toss this quilt over one of the 3 other busts, one of the ones that I haven't been interacting with.
Okay.
Whichever one of them is closest.
I'm assuming that you were keeping all 3 in sight while you...
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so again, the one that's closest is the one by the wall on that side of the bed. So it would be the other one closest to the door, and you are able to drape it and cover it.
Okay. So I'm going to shift my vision to where that one is no longer in my line of sight, but the other 2 are, if that's possible.
Yes.
And I'm going to see if that one starts moving again.
It does not.
Okay. Well, then I am going to very strategically remove the rest of the bed linens and cover the other 2 statues. I don't know what to do about the one where the spirit is actually coming out. Is it still trying to interact with me? Is it just shouting at me?
Yeah, so it is following you, and you have this ghostly head. And in the moment that it connected with you initially, it got basically a full read on all of your memories. At every awkward moment, every misstep you've ever taken, it is sitting there and throwing jibes at you. Every failure, every miscalculation, and it's just constantly reminding you of these things, just constantly behind your ear whispering, well, that's not going to work. Remember the last manor you were at, and you were going to save that child, and the house collapsed and she died, and her spirit's waiting for you at the next life. The woman you were dating previously, how she ran off and she left you because you didn't have enough family wealth. You weren't going to be good for her. You can't be near as glorious as our family was going to be. Your grandfather bargained your entire family for a mere pittance. We got the far better end of this deal, and now he sold you down the river, and look at the filthy piece of trash you are. You'll never... So again, just this constant harrowing and needling, and it is following you.
Okay. I think he is simply going to ignore him. He's just going to ignore this spirit.
Okay.
Because this spirit isn't demonstrating any ability to... It's not doing anything other than annoyance at this point.
Okay.
And so he's just he's been doing this long enough that at least for the moment, he is able to just sort of shut it out and not really listen to it.
Okay. So we are ready to move on to the third floor. So you move up, and strangely enough, the third floor of this is a greenhouse. It's
Okay.
it's a strange place to have a greenhouse, but apparently it's the greenhouse.
I mean, they have a garden on the roof.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And so you get up there, and yeah, it's kind of like their version of the Babylonian hanging gardens. So you have these vines and trestles that kind of overlap the top of the building, and it's the whole top floor of this mansion.
Okay. Does it look like it's been maintained, or has it gone
Yeah,
wild, or is it slowly
it looks like
dying?
it is slowly dying at this point, but it looks like it was once extremely well maintained.
Okay. Do I recognize any plants with any magical significance?
Give me a roll on that one.
Okay. That's a tie, 3 and 3.
Okay, let me pull back up to the dice rolls. Grr. I was actually trying to figure because you actually pulled the other like big boss on this too.
I see that. Yeah.
3 and 3. The environment or the circumstances are altered. Yeah, there are magical plants within this, but they're at various points, and some of the spores you notice might be on, again, kind of like mushrooms, where they get to a certain point, and if you disturb them, they'll start releasing spores. Some of the plants are at that point too, again, where they have not been watered or tended in a while. Most of this has gone to seed.
Okay.
And so as you walk through, you get like this wave of shimmer between, it's almost like you're walking through ripples in time to where it's vibrant and lush, and it's gone to seed, and it is now like slowly decaying and dying, back to vibrant and lush. And again, it's kind of shimmering through, like waves of time are shimmering through the garden.
Okay. Interesting. Real quick, that last encounter,
Yes.
should that have done power peril?
That would be a peril. Yeah, that's going to wind up being a peril. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So
Remember 106 for ties. If they pop up again.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Trying to think. Because he's trying to discern if there's any rhyme or reason to when the perspective shifts, like the timeline's perspective shifts. And like whenever he walks into one, he's going to take a step back and see if it reverts or if it stays the same or if it changes to something different.
It kind of reverts. So again, it's a ripple. It's hard to get the timing of, but it kind of like, give me a roll.
Okay. That is a failure, 4 over 1.
Yeah, you are not able to determine a pattern to this, but as you are trying and as you are focusing, you do hear, strangely enough, it seems to have fit the music from the dining hall, but you do hear a soft voice that is singing quite nicely within the garden as well. So there is a voice that recites poetry from unseen lips.
Okay. Well, am I still being harangued by this?
Yes.
Okay. See here. He's not going to try and be stealthy about it. He knows that he is an intruder in this place.
Okay.
And his whole vibe is drawing out, as we saw with the plate in the dining room. His whole shtick is drawing out the entities, provoking them out so that he can interact with them.
Okay.
And so he is going to work his way around it, following this voice to see if he can discern the source of this voice.
Okay. Give me another roll.
Okay. That is a tie, 1 and 1.
You with your ties.
106.
Yes. You reach a stalemate. So you notice that you can hear the voice. You might possibly be able to communicate with the voice, but you cannot see the voice or determine where it is from.
Okay. I think at this point, he's frustrated enough with this niggling little insult spirit that is following him around. I think he's going to try and snatch him again.
Okay.
I think enough time has passed that he's just getting tired of it, and he thinks that he could think better if he doesn't have this little thing chattering in his ear.
Okay. I'm going to say, though you try, the spirit seems now to be attached to you. And you cannot, like, you can try to grab it, but you would not be able to dispel it at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You have been haunted by yet another spirit. Actually, give me a roll.
See if my spirit kicks it out. Nope, that is not a success. That's a 4 over a 3.
So as the spirit follows you, and again, it is sit there needling at you constantly, and you start to feel the weight over time. And again, you're absolutely fed up with this thing, but it's learning you more and more. And it's working its way deeper into your psyche, and it, with absolute mirth, has latched on to your memories of your initial supernatural encounter. And do you want to give some more information about what that encounter was or what occurred at that moment so the players also know what the spirit has found?
Okay, I think that this is going to playing back to the flashback that he got in the bedroom.
Okay.
That this was an older sister, like a sibling, that ultimately ended up, they were claimed as the price for this boon that the family got from this trickster entity. And he tried to stop them and was unsuccessful in doing so.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that. And so, yeah, the spirit has learned the name and the image of your sister. And as you do things, this singer's voice seems very reminiscent of your sister's voice as well. It's not your sister, but it's close. I mean, again, they could have voices very similar. Their cadence and the way they pronounce things are very enough alike that it does bring this memory of your sister up. And this haunting spirit just latches onto it with both greasy talons and is just ripping into your memories as best it can. Give me a roll.
Okay. It's another failure, 5 over 4. Man, I should have inverted the order of these dice.
So these memories you go, if you were more in tuned, if you were in a better state of focus, you would realize that the memories that you are seeing now and the images the specter is showing you weren't 100% accurate. They were slightly altered. But now the spirit realizes that you don't realize this, and it's building more on those alterations. And those altered memories are actually becoming your memories. And so in this case, it's actually changing your memory and perceptions of the past, making your failures that much greater and your grief on the events that much worse. And you start to blame yourself more and more for these events that happened.
Okay. Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Silas is definitely the sort of person who displays their grief as anger. And so he is just getting more irritable, more irritated, more disgruntled the longer this goes. And he is going to lash out.
Okay.
He hasn't yet, but it's going to happen real soon.
How are you going to lash out?
I think it is going to depend on the situation around him. He's going to lash out with physical violence. He is not going to lash out verbally. He is going to lash out physically.
Okay.
And the fact that he couldn't get a grip on this spirit that is now haranguing him is only driving him more and more to the desire to just break things.
Okay. Give me a moment here. So I got to figure out how this boss fight is supposed to work, because we are at the boss fight. Now to face the boss, the main cause of the haunting, you will roll your actions as usual. However, the power peril will come to play, with each representing your accumulated resource and challenges respectively. To triumph over the boss, your goal is to deplete its peril pile, which fuels the boss strengths down to 0 cards before your power pile, which sustains your own strength is exhausted. Each time you get a favorable result on your die roll, remove 1 card from the peril. Every unfavorable dice roll from the power. Okay. And so as Silas goes, and he is driven much like a post-story to the point of madness, and he just starts thrashing and just swinging and shattering stuff within this garden and uprooting plants and just kicking things and just completely driven to madness by frustration and grief and this feeling of powerlessness. You start to hear a choir of cackling laughter. The ground itself has stopped heaving under, and before you see a jester in a vaudeville mask and the motley, and surrounded by other jesters, surrounded by motley. And he sits there and they are all in turn laughing. And this spectral head behind you is laughing. And at this point, the main jester pulls off the mask of one of the jesters around him. And it is the image of your sister. And she is also pointing and laughing at you. What are you doing?
I am going to use my leveraging ancient lore to dominate mystical confrontations.
Okay.
He is past the point of subtlety, and
Yes.
he is going to go and he is going to try and grab this entity by the face and just face plant him into the ground.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
He doesn't even stop to think about the fact that this probably isn't going to work. And it doesn't. That's a 5/2.
Oh, okay. So again, as the stack went, you only had one card in your power pile.
I did. Editor Ian here again. Remember when I said I was going to come back and tell you more about the Jokers later in the episode? Well, this is the point later in the episode where we're going to talk about it because we missed a couple of the rules regarding the Jokers. It wasn't clearly stated, but both Jokers did come up. The first Joker is supposed to reveal the motivations of the horror in the house. The second one is supposed to reveal its weakness. I didn't get either of those things, and they're also both supposed to go into the power pile. So I was supposed to have 3 cards in my power pile and not 1. But things ended up the way they ended up, and, well, let's just get to the end of the story.
Which depletes you. And so, driven by your rage and madness, you run to grab this jester. And in this blind rage, you run. And you hear the cackling behind you as you feel your ankles trip over the edge of the roof. And you tumble down and down and down and collide with the earth.
Yeah, that tracks.
So a bleak ending for our story. It did get a little dark, but again, that's kind of the feel of this game, I think, anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the hero doesn't always win.
Yeah, just going off of what the book says. It says, on the other hand, if the power pile runs out first, it means that things did not go as planned.
Yes.
Perhaps you were able to banish the creature, but at great cost. Is it possible that you thought you succeeded, only to realize later that the horror still lingers, maybe even within yourself? Or did the encounter simply break your spirit, causing you to flee in fear and never to return?
Yes. Now, this worked out, too, because the peril pile had 3. So at that point, winning your first peril, maybe you dispel the spirit. The second peril, perhaps you save your sister. The third peril, perhaps you actually, defeat this jester spirit. But in this case, they fully won. And
yes.
I would I would play this again. This can be solo capable. The virtual tabletop does make this run a lot easier because you don't have to look up quite as much stuff with charts and things. Though I did have a couple hiccups with running it through the cards. But like I said, I would sit down and play this again. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't the outcome I wanted, but it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A great Halloween game. I think this would be a really, this is a good game for spoopy season. I think this fits really well.
I agree. Yeah, it definitely came through well with the vibes.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was an interesting mechanical system. I think it provided a much more cinematic gameplay than Reap did. Reap was very heavy on the mechanics, whereas this was much more of a narrative forward game.
Yes, absolutely. Theater of the mind definitely prevails with this one.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, thank you for running that. That was fun.
It was fun. I enjoyed.
Yeah, and we'll have to find another game for around the holidays, around Christmas, for us to play.
I agree, and I'm not saying that we sponsor and support a solo capable bundle game of games every year that we might need to delve into and look into. Though I also do enjoy being able to support individual creators because again, there is a lot of creative energy and effort out in the game space out there. And it is absolutely wonderful to be able to support creators when we have the chance to.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think that wraps up for today.
Okay.
So this coming Saturday, I am going to be in a live play game for Clark Rowanson's book release party.
Ooh.
And I meant to include it in last episode. I ended up doing an intro thing to talk about it because I forgot to do it while we were recording. But
Oops.
yeah, it happens. Especially when you're recording late at night, it happens.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be playing a character in that game. I really need to come up with a name for my character. And I'm trying to remember the system that we're running. New Eternities, I think, is the system. As of recording, we're having our first session this coming Sunday. So that's going to be us learning the system. Editor Ian here one last time because I am in recording Ian's future. And I have already played this first game, and I have more correct information to provide than he had whenever I was first recording. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. So the system that we are playing is a modified version of the Open Legends system. It is a version that Clark modified, if I recall correctly, to better reflect the mechanical system within the book. The character that I am playing is a Silicari, which is a rock person. His name is Lodestone, and he gets up to a whole bunch of hijinks involving gravity, which is a whole lot of fun. The first sessions should be up on YouTube. If they're not up yet, they should be up soon. They're supposed to be up before the launch party so that you can watch the initial adventure and figure out the story so far up until the start of the live stream game. The live stream game is going to be starting at 9 a.m. Pacific, which would be noon Eastern time on Saturday, October 25th. If you want more information regarding all of that, you can go to Clark Rowanson's website, crrowanson.com/launch, to join the RSVP list for the launch party and to get notifications on when everything is going live and where everything is going to be. I'm going to put links in the show notes for that launch party. So if you would come over and help support friend of the show, Clark Rowanson, as he's releasing his lit RPG book, Spawn Point, that we talked to him about a couple months ago.
Nice.
Now, with that out of the way, if you have any comments, suggestions, or ideas, please send us an email at undercommontaste@gmail.com or come join us on our Discord. You can find a link to the Discord as well as links to our Patreon, patreon.com/undercommontaste, and our itch store, undercommontaste.itch.io, through our website, undercommontaste.com.
Also, if this is your first time listening to us, we're so very glad you found us. We hope you enjoyed our actual play. If you want to join our other episodes where we do more as in world building and lore and character building, you can find us on your podcatcher of choice. Just search Under Common Taste. You'll find us there. Also, you can join me on Tuesdays and Wednesdays on twitch.tv/undercommontaste. I am resuming our ventures into Darkest Dungeon and Neverwinter Nights.
So stay safe, everyone, and we will see you again in 2 weeks when we talk about the rest of our Evil Plane Extraplanar Dragons.
Happy gaming.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Under Common Taste. Our theme song is Massacre Anne, written and performed by Mary Kroll and used with permission. You can find Mary online at marykroll.bandcamp.com or on Patreon at patreon.com/Dr. Mary C. Kroll. Our logo is by David Sutherland. You can find more of David's work on deviantart.com/David Sutherland or on instagram.com/Willex_73. We'll be back in 2 weeks, so stay safe and we'll see you then.